BCC Ghost Town, 937G. That's entry 2016. And 7th in class entry 2020 from Sunstar Simmentals. That's Sunstar God of War 3G. Our next class into the ring will be our second and final split of bull calves. Judge Hertz, your age range in this class is from January 1 to January 6.
In ring number 1, we're moving now into our open shorthorn show, the purebred section. This is the first of 2 splits of yearling heifers. This is a division that is sponsored by Bear Acres Shorthorn and Lazy HJ Stock Farm. At the completion of our next class, which will be the second split of our yearling heifers, we'll have a junior championship. The junior champion female will receive the award from Bear Acres Shorthorns and the reserve from Lazy HJ Stock Farm. But first we got to get through our 2 splits that lead up to that. And for Judge Daryl Hickman, this is his complete class of 6. Top 2 from this will advance to the junior championship. Once again, during our National Shorthorn Show, once we get into the Grand Champion Bull class in some few hours' time, we're going to be happy to spotlight the 2018 Shorthorn Champion of the World competition. And those winners that are actually in attendance. This one is a domestic winner. Our Shorthorn Miss World was actually from Canada, but we'll get to that in a few hours' time. We'll take a look at all of these 2019 entries in our National Shorthorn Show first. So feast your eyes in ring number 1 on our National Shorthorn Show. We do also want to remind all of our exhibitors of the 3 Chords and the Roots Songwriter Circle concert that's taking place right here in Hall B from 7 to 9 p.m. tomorrow. It's an open and free concert for all of you. 3 Chords and the Roots Songwriter Circle is presenting this concert series in support of mental health for farmers. And their concert in Edmonton is right here in Hall B at the Expo Center tomorrow night at 7. Gate admission is free, so you're welcome to come. They are accepting, however, donations to the Do More Agriculture Foundation in support of mental health for farmers. Many thanks to 3 Chords and the Roots Songwriter Circle for the concert they're providing tomorrow night. Free for everyone to attend. If you happen to want to make a donation, that would be just perfect. And Judge Hickman is ready with comments on his first of the 2 splits of Shorthorn heifers. Here's Judge Hickman.
This is certainly a nice set of yearling heifers. I really like these top 3 heifers. There's some differences in between them, as you can see. But this first plate, this heifer I chose to put in first, I think is a really nice female. She's got a lot of balance. She's quite broody, and if you can go ahead and let her out. Thank you, ma'am. The thing I appreciate about this heifer most is, as you can see, she is sound. She is sound from the bottom up, front to back. There may be a few little things we change about anything, but first and foremost, especially on our ground that we have up here that's frequently cold, thawing out, this heifer is pretty sound, and I love that about her, as well as her maternal look, and that's the piece that put her in first place over this heifer. This is a beautiful female. She gets out, she can stride. She's certainly got the length, she's got the muscle capacity, she's got a beautiful front 1/3 to her. But if I could change her, I would just like to soften her up a little bit to make her have just a touch notch more broodiness compared to that heifer in first. But that's a beautiful female. She's going to make a nice cow. As we continue on, certainly I think great examples. There's a beautiful heifer in third here. She is soft, she's got a lot of middle to her, she's got a lot of muscle capacity and balance. She's gonna go on and do an incredible job, I'm sure, for these guys in their herd. And as we move down the line again, gonna make tremendous mama cows. Just give up a little bit of differences in size and maybe some foot quality overall and muscle capacity and balance in order to move up in the class today. But that's a great set of heifers. Thank you, guys.
And thank you, Judge Hickman. First place and advancing to our junior sponsorship entry, 1867. Creekside Addie's Present, 110F, 1F, from Wendy Bishop and the crew of Creekside Shorthorns. And she'll be joined in that junior championship by entry number 1859, second in this class. Salmax Rosa, 8124F ET from Schutz Cattle Company. If you're marking your show program on that first split, entry 1857 places 5th, 1859 second, 1867 is your class winner placing 1st, 1864 is 3rd, 1868 6th, and 1901 is 4th in class. 7 entries expected in our second split of our Shorthorn yearling heifers for Judge Daryl Hickman of Sundre, Alberta. To evaluate and choose the top 2 that will then be advancing to our very next class, the Junior Championship. And Judge Hickman, your class of 7 is complete.
And with that, we'll have comments on our second and final split of senior bull calves from Judge Hertz.
Again, one in this class that I really gravitate towards. I think there's really unique differences all the way down the line that definitely need to be addressed and need to be talked about. The white-faced bull that we're going to use to win the class, I think there's a lot of good in this calf, and there's a few things that if he was just changed those things, he definitely would run away with this one. I just want to see him more relaxed in the way his tail head sets in and then square him up out of his hip. But in terms of a bull that's got mass with a little look, he comes out really nice and high at the top of his shoulder. He opens up with dimension right behind that shoulder. He's good enough in terms of his rib shape and center body cavity, far enough along in terms of his testicular development and maturity pattern. Do we want to relax him in terms of the set to his hock and his pastern? Probably, but I think a calf that really outlines quite well when you get him on the standstill. We just need to get him a little leveler out of his hip to really run away with this one. This black calf is kind of an intriguing one to look at for me. I think he's probably the freest off of both ends when you analyze him in motion, just reaching with his front, and then lots of flex and cushion out of his hock and pastern. For me, he does become a little three sections to me. He's got his front 1/3 where he's massive and really mature, and then you analyze him in his center portion of his body, and you just want to open him up with a lot more dimension to his forerib, and then give him a little bigger sweep to his rib cage, and then just stouten him up on his back end. But I think a bull that moves so well that's where he sorts up to second, but just a few things we just want to change in terms of the way that center portion of his body is designed. I think this pair of bulls we come to next, depending on your program, definitely have a lot of usefulness. The young man's bull we come to in 3rd, just really massive and powerful in the way he's constructed from his shoulder back to his hip. For me, he just reads a little round out of his shoulder and round out of his hip. And then we just want to set him up right in terms of the angle of his pastern for me today, and then change the way the foot's designed. But in terms of sheer dimension, lots of muscle shape, and a real, a bull with lots of grow and stretch and pounds per day of age, he definitely takes the cake in this one. I think, he's got the fundamentals in terms of mass and dimension. The young lady's bull we come to in 4th, I think a calf, again, follows the pattern of our 3rd place bull, being really expressive in the terms of his muscle, and really pronounced in terms of his maturity pattern at this stage of the game. Again, we just want to loosen him up when you set him in motion off of both ends. The young man's dark red bull that we come to next, a calf that is as smooth as you can make one in this class. He's a really nice transition from shoulder to rib, and then really long and stretchy in his muscle design and his hip. For me, he's just a little plain from his front, from his shoulders forward. We want to stretch him out, give him a little more attractive skull for me today, and then just relax him in his joints just a little bit. And then the bull we round the class off with a black bull that I think in terms of maturity pattern is probably the the latest in where he sits today, just being a little more refined through his front 1/3, and I like that about that. I like that about the bull, being, you know, those later maturing ones sometimes turn out to be the better herd bulls. If you ask some of the ranchers down in our country, a calf that's really square out of his pins and level down his top. For me, I just want to soften him up in his rib cage, give him a little deeper flank, and then put a little more bone and a little heavier structure underneath him. An interesting discussion between the top couple bulls with pros and cons all the way through.
Thank you, Tyson. So advancing into our senior champion bull class is entry 2032 from Hampton Simmentals with HPR William 117G. Second in class and also advancing from Lysing Cattle and Land and Cattle is LLC GI Joe 104G. That's entry 2036. In third, entry 2028 from Rafter 4T Farms Limited with Rafter 4T Tennessee Whiskey 616G. In fourth, entry 2029 Rafter 4T Keystone 111G from Rafter 4T Farms Limited. Fifth in class, entry 2042 from Yellow Rose Cattle Company with YR Torch 519G. And sixth in class, entry 2022, that's RJY straight up 1G, exhibited by High Country Cattle Services and Flying S Ranch. If you're marking your show program, entry 2023 was a scratch. Our next class in ring number 2, our Simmental show, will be our senior champion bull class. So please make sure if you are a banner sponsor, including Mater Ranches or Harvey Crest and KT Ranches, come ringside, as you will be able to present your division banner here in the Simmental ring. Again, Mater Ranches and Harvey Crest, KT Ranches. So to introduce from our first split of senior bull calves, entry 2025 from High Country Cattle Services with RJY Grand Prix 21G. And second in that first class, entry 2017 from Lake Bottom Cattle Company with LBCC Guilty as Charged 948G. And from our most recent class, our class winner, entry 2032 from Hampton Simmentals with HPR William 117G. And second in that class, entry 2036 from Lysing Land and Cattle with LLC GI Joe 104G. Judge Tyson Hertz will take just a moment to deliberate as he will congratulate his division champion. That's going to go to our class winner from our first split, High Country Cattle Services with entry 2025. RJY Grand Prix 21G is your champion, and receiving the banner from Mater Ranches. Your reserve senior champion bull calf was your class winner from our second split from Hampton Simmentals with HPR William 117G. That's entry 2032. He'll be reserve, taking home the banner, sponsored by Harvey Crest and KT Ranches. Our next class will be class number 18, our Simmental Yearling Bulls.
Swear you're right back on my mind, girl. These days it don't take much. It's the little things that get me thinking about you. Wish I didn't, but damn it, I do. I never thought it'd be this hot, but even when you ain't, baby, there you are. And it's a big deal when you're in love, and then you break up, get through the heartache part, and then just when you think you're fine, you still find a little pain in the little things. It's all the little things. It ain't seen you out, girl, running into your mom. If you wanna tear me up, then turn up our first slow dance song. It's the little things that get me thinking about you. Wish I didn't, but damn it, I do. I never thought it'd be this hot, but even when you ain't, baby, there you are. And it's a big deal when you're in love, and then you break up, get through the heartache part, and then just when.
And ladies and gentlemen, the class is placed. Our second split of yearling heifers in ring number 1, our National Shorthorn Show. To tell us all about it, Judge Hickman.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give these guys a round of applause. This is a heck of a set of females to sort through. I have to admit, I really, really love this heifer. When she came into the ring, she hit you pretty hard. She's certainly sound.